Top 5 Outstanding U.S. Presidents. Number 5. Theodore Roosevelt. Theodore Roosevelt became the youngest ever president when he took the oath, and he brought his exuberance into the office as expected. He controlled trusts so that small businesses and workers were not exploited. He wanted everyone to have a square deal, which was eponymous to his administration's name. He got Congress to pass laws which protected the people from impure food and drugs and forced the owners of the coal mines during the time to pay better wages to its laborers. He is recognized as having done more than any other president to save the natural resources of USA. Roosevelt established national parks and more than 125 million acres of national forests. A firm believer in having a strong navy, he also got Congress to build new battleships and cruisers. It was for the objective that the Navy could move easily from one ocean to the other, and also for trade purposes that he built the Panama Canal. Number 4. James Knox Polk. James Polk was one of the few presidents who made his agenda clear and actually went on to accomplish every one of his pre-planned goals. Under him the Congress passed laws to set up a national treasury and to lower the tariff, just as he had said he wanted to. He avoided war with England and split the Oregon Territory between the U.S. and Canada, which remains the present-day border. Despite having settled the Oregon issue so peacefully, the same proved more difficult in the case of California. Mexicans wouldn't sell their land, and the revolutions he tried to stir up there all failed. But he couldn't let this last promise of bringing California under the Union fall apart, so he persevered. Slowly over the course of the next few months he bullied Mexico into a war it didn't want to fight. America won and took not only California but what is now all of Nevada and parts of Utah, Arizona and New Mexico. Number 3. Franklin Delano Roosevelt. FDR was faced with the immediate problem of depression as soon as his arrival to the Oval Office. He declared bank holidays which closed all banks. They were then opened a few at a time with government help. He got Congress to pass laws which helped farmers, small businesses and people who were about to lose their homes during that time. He kept moving on with his social reforms which changed the course of American government. Just when things started to return back to normal and the people grew in confidence, World War II commenced. He wanted the Allies to win to protect democracy all over the world and kept sending more and more supplies to the British to overcome the forces which threatened freedom. America eventually joined in the war. He saw the USA through 2 grave crises, and his last great achievement was to lay the foundation of what would later be the UN. Number 2. Woodrow Wilson. Woodrow Wilson was an admirable principled president. He got Congress to lower the tariff and he reformed the national banking system. He also got the Congress to declare that it wasn't against the law for working men to go on strike. When World War I started, his aim was clearly to stay out of it. He instead looked forward to help the warring countries to make peace. When German submarines bombed American ships in the Atlantic without warning, the USA was engaged in the war. More than anything else, Wilson wanted this to be a war to end all the wars. Even at the time of fighting, he drew up his famous 14-point peace plan. The most important of these called for a League of Nations which would settle future rifts between nations. Germany had surrendered and the League of Nations was formed. But without the approval of the U.S. Senate, America couldn't join, and without the USA the body was rendered useless. But Wilson kept traveling around the country making speeches in favor of the League. He left a legacy for peace which people still dream about. Number 1. Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln became the president when everything was going wrong for the USA. There were still a number of border states which were left undecided on whether to stay in the Union or not. He wanted to hold on to these states if he possibly could. Secondly, a lot of Northerners believed that neither the Union nor slavery was worth fighting about. Fighting a war at that time would mean a lot of people not supporting him. He had the gifted ability to make the people understand what he was doing, and when Civil War broke out he made them understand that the USA was the only genuine democratic government in the world and his job was to hold the Union together. Since slavery had started this whole mess in the first place, he believed that it had to perish for the nation to live. He issued the Emancipation Proclamation and worked for the 13th Amendment to ban slavery. Although these did not effectively ensure the end of slavery, it won sympathy for the North throughout the world, which culminated into its victory in the end. He had no plans for revenge and just wanted to restore the Union as soon as possible. Boo! Alas, he was assassinated. He is arguably the most mourned president ever.